What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr, and today I'm bringing an update to Dinos. Now Dinos are incredibly powerful, they've got a great ability to go first or second, and I've kind of put this deck together with that in mind of being able to go first, but also the balance of being able to go second and break boards as well. I'll show you a 2-card combo at the end of the video that can utilise the brand new Evil Sword laws as well. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. So we're going to start off with the heart and soul of the deck being Soul Eating Oviraptor. Now obviously you're going to be playing this at free no matter what. The only thing you can't play at free that you'd want to play at free is Miscellaneous. But that card is stupid broken and we'll talk about that later on. Everyone should know what Oviraptor does. It's got so many good effects. So on normal or special you take a dino from the deck and either add it to the hand or send it to the graveyard. You then get the ability to target one other level 4 or lower dino monster on the field, destroy it, then special summon a dino monster from the graveyard in defense. So it's got recurability and it also helps you with that combo with Lost World. We've then got 2 Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, still in my opinion one of the best main deck boss monsters around. Like this and Chaos Max are definitely up there in my opinion. And if I was to do like a main deck boss monster tier list, this and Chaos Max are definitely S tier. Like they're just insane. Book of Moon, destroying your own babies and then being able to pretty much just clear all of them off and burn damage? Yikes. And then we've got 2 Archosaur. It's one of them ones where you just love to hate it. You kind of want to be putting this at 1. Like it's so, like 2 is very rare that it's ever going to come up. And because you play it 2, you play double pill and everything else. But you need to play it 2. You can risk it and sometimes side one out. But ultimately you do need to be playing it at 2. The fact that this card exists, that on normal or special, you destroy a dino monster in hand or field, and then accept itself annoyingly, but then you get to add a reptile, sea serpent, or a ring beast monster with the same original level as the destroy monster, or an evolution pill. Broken, considering evolution pill is so insane. We are playing the one Xeno Meteorous. I'm still undecided as to whether I want to play this at 1 or 2 or not at the moment. It's such a great addition to the deck, but it's just one of the ones that you get the most value out of it going first. It's one of the ones that if you open it up, it does suck because we're not playing any other Dino tuners, which is a bit of a gamble and a risk, because then it means you can't resolve the ground Xeno effect to destroy because you can't add. That's where you might want to change it up a little bit if you want to, and that's where you can play 2 Xenos. You can also then look into other dinos like Scrap Raptor is something you can also play, but I personally don't in this particular version. Then for the one-offs, we've got the 1 Giant Rex, the 1 Frosaurus, triple Baby Ceratosaurus, double Petite Pterodon. Now you can play Petite at 3 if you want to. I just quite like the 3 Baby and then double Petite. It just works out personally for me. 1 Dogoran, 1 Prankatops, and then of course the 1 Miscellaneous Saurus. So obviously Miscellaneous is such an insanely powerful card for that. Again, it's just a shame that it's at 1, but I also understand why it's at 1. So. Then of course we do have 4 of the field spell, being 3 versions of Lost World and 1 Terraforming. A lot of decks out there I've seen right now are cutting Terraforming completely because Droll and Lockbird's running around. That's entirely up to you. If your local environment is always main in Droll and Lockbird, then you probably wouldn't want to risk the Terraforming. You probably want to be putting something like a Call By, or you might want to put more cards in the deck to stop that Droll. But the deck itself can actually play through a Droll, which is really, really nice. Then of course we've got Triple Ground Zeno. This was an amazing addition to the deck. So you add a Dino Tuner or a Dino Normal from the deck to your hand, and then you destroy 1 card in your hand. Now the best thing about this is it lets you add and then destroy. So you can add the, for those of you that are unaware, you get to add the Zeno, and then you get to destroy the baby in the hand. So it then means that on the new chain, the Zeno can then trigger to summon itself down. So through Ground Zeno and a baby, you're pretty much popping off to get full combo. If that wasn't enough as well, you do have the ability to banish it from the graveyard to fusion summon a Dino fusion monster from the extra deck, using monsters from hand or field as material. Then of course we've got triple Fossil Dig, like a non-once per turn searcher for any level 6 or lower dino. So obviously it could search out the Zeno, it could search out the Vanilla. I don't want it to do that. This is mainly playing 4 copies of Miscellaneous, 6 copies of Oviraptor, 6 copies of Baby. Technically, if you wanted to include Baby with Petite, you actually end up getting a very nice ratio of 8 versions of that card are very easily available to you. Then got 2 double Evo Pill. Like resolving it once, you should win the game, but there are times when you can resolve it twice, and being able to get a UCT on the board at the next turn as consistently and as early as possible can be invaluable. Then in the space of Pot of Prosperity, I am playing Pot of Extravagance. Now this obviously has its risks and rewards. With Pot of Prosperity, a lot of the profiles that I'm seeing are like, yeah, cool, so I play Pot of Prosperity, but they're playing it at 2. And the idea is that you want to activate Prosperity going first and only going first. You don't really want to activate it going second because you should have enough gas power to OTK with your deck in general. And when you are activating Prosperity, you're making that job just double as hard for yourself to do it. Which is why I was like, right, you know what, I'll test out Pot of Extravagance. Now this will adapt the extra deck. I'm going to show you 15 individual cards that you can play, and then I'll explain to the cards that you will bump up to 3 if you are that worried about Extrav, or obviously you take Prosperity as your next option. Then you have a very nice 8-card engine which can become anything you want. They can be 8 designated board breakers, stuff like Drill Tactics Thrusts, Into Dark Holes, Raigekis, Dart Rulers, stuff like that. If you're going to be playing Dart Ruler, then these might as well be Prosperities, so keep that in mind. What I've gone with is I've gone with 3 hand traps in the form of Ash Blossom, 3 in the form of Infinite Impermanence, and then a balance of being able to break a board with Forbidden Droplet. Now this does make the deck a 41 card deck. There are other cards because you've got that flexibility with your extra deck and your main deck where you can very easily play stuff like Super Poly and everything else. There are ways, so if I just take this back a little bit, there are ways where I would say to this point in the profile, they're all staple cards. There's only like 2 cards I'd say you could probably reduce down, and that's cut Double Evo down to 1, cut Archosaur down to 1, but then you're increasing your risk of messing up your entire combo. So that's a gamble you could play, which what that would do is that would then leave the remaining 11 cards as flex spots to whatever you need to do. Obviously, the idea behind Extrav is so that you've got draw power. The idea behind your Imperms and Ashes is so that you've got the ability to interrupt. Imperm is the best hand trap because it can be used going first or second, which is really, really nice. Ash Blossom is just the generic go-to. And then you've got Forbidden Droplet as your board breaker. But if you're ultimately like, you know what, I quite like the idea of playing Super Poly, then Ash becomes Super Poly because you don't really care about trying to drop that one hand trap at the exact right time to shut your opponent down. You kind of go, you know what, I don't care what type of board you're going to build, I'm going to break it. Now, obviously, you do have the ability of getting naturally to your Kaiju, and if you wanted to, you could easily play Small World in the deck as well. And if you're going to play Small World, I'd probably consider cutting that for Pot of Extrav, because they're basically doing the same job. It's the same for Prosperity. The idea behind Prosperity, Extrav, and in my opinion, Small World, is to try and get you to a designated outcome, or trying to extend to that one particular card you're looking for. Prosperity gives you the most chance out of itself in Extrav because you get to look at one of 6 options. Extrav gives you the most hand advantage because it lets you draw that additional card, but you can't guarantee exactly what it's going to be. And then Small World will get you exactly where you want to go as long as you know the bridge, but you need to have an additional card in the hand. So unlike Prosperity and Extrav, which can be activated on their own, Small World needs that additional card. So it's that risk and reward of, right, okay, well, I don't like the gamble of Pot of Extrav. I don't own Prosperities. Small World will be the go-to. And the reason I quite like that is if you wanted to, you could spice in something like a single Kurikara. You've got direct access to your Kaiju. And the best thing about that is it's rare that opponent stops a Small World unless you face them a loads of time and they know exactly what that Small World is going to get you. They usually go, you know what, I'll let that Small World go through and I'll just stop whatever you get with it. And if you're getting a Kaiju or a Kurikara or a card that they cannot stop, you're then going to put them under a lot of pressure to go, right, okay, cool, you've missed your opportunity to stop me, I'm now going to break your board and go off. So that's kind of the flex elements that you've got within the deck, and I do try to provide as much information as I possibly can as to why specific cards are chosen, and then talk about alternative options depending on your play style. And that's what it is at the end of the day, and I've said this many a time before. I do not advise anyone net decking a deck, taking it to locals and expect it to produce the exact same outcome as someone else's has. What I give you decks for is that you can build them as a structure and you go, right, okay, I'm going to digitally net deck this and then I'm going to test it and go, right, this doesn't work for me, change it up. My local environment loses more to draw than it does Ashes, so you swap that up. It does give you a lot of flexibility, which is really nice. So moving on to the extra deck, we'll start off with the brand new Evilsaur Lars. So this is generic rank 6, and then while it has material, your opponent cannot target it with monster effects. It's a shame it cannot be targeted outright, but monster effects is still pretty good. On top of that as well, when your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, detach 2 materials from this card, or just 1 material if its materials are Dino reptiles. Target 1 face-up card your opponent controls, negate its effects. So that's nice because it can negate back row and front row, which is kind of cool, so it can deal with stuff like Evenlies, and it can deal with stuff like Lightning Storms. Next up, of course, you do have your Dolkers and your Luggies. So if you are playing an extra version, these are probably the ones you're going to be looking at kind of tripling up. Probably more so 3 Lars and then maybe 2 Darkers, 2 Luggies. But then if you're focusing on going first, these cards aren't the greatest going second. So if you're focusing on going first, you don't mind using the Prosperity play anyway. So that's when you'll probably be considering actually leaving these at ones. So it really does come down to your play style. If you're going second, Extra and Small World, in my opinion. If you're going first, Prosperity is absolutely fine. The only other XYZ we play is the one at Yugioh, just to kind of bring back your UCT and make it a fat stack boss monster. We've then got the one at Giant Zawa. So this is obviously your fusion monster that can be summoned off of the back of your ground Zeno. It requires 1 Dino and then 1 normal monster. If this card is special summoned, you can target 1 Dino monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So it lets you recycle Misk if you leave it there, or it can let you recycle your babies, which is going to be very important for its second effect. So if this card was specialed from the graveyard, you get to destroy 2 cards, one from your hand or field and one on your opponent controls. If this card is destroyed, you get to shuffle a normal monster from your graveyard into the deck to special summon it back. So the idea is you use UCT, you pop your Giant Zawa. Giant Zawa's effect will trigger, being able to summon itself back and then pop the baby you've added back to the hand during the turn you summoned it, while also bookending your opponent's monsters and then being able to destroy a baby and trigger off to go into an Overraptor and search out a UCT for a follow-up, and then also pick off one of your opponent's boards. Then for the Synchros, we've got the defensive option of Baron de Fleur, and we've got the aggressive option of your Chengying. The reason I like Chengying quite a lot in this build is because if you're able to make it early doors before you activate Pill, you can activate Pill, summon out a UCT, and then trigger its own effect to then banish an additional card. On top of that, because it's a worm, when you lock yourself down with the Zeno, it doesn't really affect you. You can still just make this, but you can't make Baron because it's not a worm, Dino, Sea Serpent, or Dragon. Then for your other Link monsters, of course, the most important ones, specifically on the extra version, is your Linkuriboh and your Secure Gardener, just because obviously these are the ones you need to turn an Archosaur in, and then turn Linkuriboh into Secure Gardener to get you that non-Dino in the graveyard. If you are going second, the hopes are that you've got a hand trap in there, whether it be Droll, Ash, you name it, that is a non-Dino, so that's not a big issue for you. But then again, if you're focusing on specifically Extra, go second, and you want to guarantee your UCT double Evo Pill is going to resolve, you're going to want to look at bumping these up. Then of course you do have your Nightmare Phoenix and your Pentastag, so dealing with back row, dealing with piercing if your opponent wants to build up a wall, or even after you've UCT'd your opponent's entire board, you still need to kind of clear it off. You can look into Unicorn if you want to. That is another option with IP coming off the back of it. But in its place for now, I am playing the one Cross Sheep. Just because we're playing Fusions, Synchros, and XYZs, you can technically trigger 2 of its effects. And that's really kind of cool. So either increase your attack, reduce your opponent's attack, or revive from the graveyard. And then we've got the G Golem into access code combo. So for those of you that are unfamiliar with this, you use 2 Earths to make the Stubborn Menhir, and then you turn a Archosaur into a Linkuriboh, which means it's 2 Cyvers on the board. So you use this plus the Linkuriboh to go into Crystal Heart. Crystal Heart will then bring back the Stubborn Menhir, and then you then link these 2 together to make your access code. So your access code will be a 4300, and it will have 3 attributes in the graveyard: Earth, Water, and then Dark with your Linkuriboh as well, which is incredibly powerful, being able to back this up with a UCT as well. So that's it for the list. I'm now going to reset the board state and show you the 2-card combo involving Evilsaur Lars right about now. Here is the 2-card safe option. Now this same 2-card combo can be very aggressive and can end your board on like 2 XYZs plus UCT. But in the version I'm about to show you, shout out to Reversal Yugioh, I'm going to show you a safer way that lets you protect from Nib, unless you get that lucky moment of hard opening up your Misk. So we're going to start off by activating the ground Zeno. This will let you add your Dino Tuner, which will be your Xeno Meteorous. Use ground Zeno to destroy the baby Ceratosaurus, and then on a new chain link 1 baby, chain link 2 Zeno, so you can chain block your baby, summon down the Zeno, and then off of baby, summon out the Misk. Now obviously if you're being aggressive, this one then becomes Overraptor rather than Misk, but there is a reason for this. You're then going to sync these 2 together, and you're going to go into your Baron de Fleur, meaning you're now protected from the Biru, or a interaction that could possibly end your turn. If you went with Ovi and you used Ovi's effect to search and Ovi was stopped there, then it would just be Baron pass, whereas this one still has plays to make. So you're going to banish specifically Misk and baby Ceratosaurus from the graveyard to summon out another baby from the deck. You're then going to use Baron's effect to pop the baby and summon out an Ovi from the deck. Then use Ovi's effect to search you out a baby, and you're going to be able to normal summon said baby because you haven't normal summoned at this turn as of yet. Use Overraptor's effect to pop this baby and revive the Xeno Meteorous. triggering the baby's effect in the graveyard to summon a 4th baby. So we're going to go for petite on this one. It doesn't make much of a difference either way around. You're then going to use Zeno's effect again to pop the petite Pteriodon to summon out the Frostosaurus. Trigger off petite's effect to summon out your Giant Rex. So obviously very simply, this is your rank 4, this is your rank 6, and you've got the ability to set up your negates as you see fit. Now obviously this is from 2 cards, so you will still have 3 cards remaining in your hand, whether they be additional hand traps, whether they be droplets, board breakers, imperms, you name it, you still have further options. Now obviously if you've hard opened up double Evo Pill, you can change your play around a little bit. The idea is that we haven't gone through the Archosaur play as of yet, so we haven't been able to set up UCT play. That's in the other version, which is a lot more greedier, for the pure fact that you don't get to a Baron before your 5th summon, and you don't have the ability to set up your Misk in hand protection effect, as you need an additional card. So it becomes a 3-card combo, but that should be something that is a little bit more consistently done in a Dino deck anyway. So, like I said, this is just the base minimum safety combo. If you are not fearful of a Nibiru in game 1, and you're not fearful of a Droll, and you do not feel that you're going to get Imperm, Veilered, Ashed, you name it, then go absolutely ham, and that's where you can end up your board with these 2 plus a UCT. So you just get a bit more aggressive. Anyway, short, sweet, simple video to kind of complement the profile. If you have any questions at all, by all means, please let me know in the comments down below. I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. Of course, combos like this can still involve the Giant Zala. It can also still involve the Cross Sheep, which will allow you to revive Miscellaneous, or it can also allow you to revive the Ogoraptor. So there's still so much flexibility and alternations with the deck as well, which is what makes it really, really fun and really, really powerful. But the deck is still a little bit underperforming with what it can do, just because in its combos there are just so many susceptible lines that can be interacted with now, and without having this bad boy to go, okay, cool, drop, protect, it can get a little bit tricky. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. If you do have any comments at all or questions, by all means, please put them down in the comment section below, and I will be more than happy to answer them. For now, as absolutely always, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.